Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gardening TLC. We are at my friend Tracy's house where we are going to install the long hot fence line. I am so excited to do this. So not only are we going to beautify this area and make it absolutely gorgeous, we are also going to be resetting some bricks in her different areas around the yard. That's another video, so make sure you stay tuned for that if you want to learn how to set bricks. But we are going to plant this up. The guys are getting ready right now to clear all of the debris. So come on today. This is going to be a great time. So I've already walked the guys through the job. We've unloaded all of the plants, and the first thing that we do whenever we do a job is we are going to clear the area of all of the weeds, all of the things that we don't want, all of the plants that we're going to move and or divide. So that is step one. Make sure that you get a good look at how this looks before. They're already starting to take this creeping Jenny out, but here you go. See, that patch will have to go, but just so you can see, this is what it's going to look like. And by the end of the day, this will look totally different. I love landscaping for the fact that when you do a project like this, you get this immediate gratification of something going from this to something totally beautiful. And even though it'll be little, it'll still look better than all of this. While the guys continue to put the edging in, we are going to thin the iris. It's one of the things that Tracy wanted us to do. So she wants to put them back in. She just doesn't want as many. And over time, these will, again, multiply. Now, an iris is a rhizome. So you can see here, here's a nice long rhizome right here. It's got some healthy roots on it. These are all really super firm, and that's what you're looking for when you dig up the iris, is are they firm? Are they mushy? Do they have holes in them where borers maybe went through them? And so you're looking for the health and the viability of your rhizome. Now, I can take this and I can snap this in half, and see, I can get two little ones instead. Now, one of the things you want to do when you have a rhizome for an iris and you're going to put it back in the ground is you do want to cut it into little stubs just like this. I know, you're like, oh my God, you cut that foliage off. But that's okay, because when you plant an iris rhizome, it wants to be right at the top surface of the soil where almost this is barely covered with soil. And if I try to put that really super long stalk of leaves on the ground and have it stay in place, the first windstorm we get, it's going to go poink and over it goes, and then I'm going to have a hard time ridding it because these are going to be loose in the ground. Now, I will trim these up just a little bit to get some nice healthy ends, but we're going to probably get a good handful of these cleaned up. The rest of them we're going to give away to a friend or her friend, and then we're going to put these back in the ground. So we're going to get these all prepped. All right, here's an example of a rhizome here. See how it's got this hole in it right there? See, right there. And so I think that a borer might have got in there. It's a little bit soft. We're going to cut it open just so I can kind of see what the inside looks like. Oh, yeah. Ooh, and it's right there. Can you see the little worm in there? There he is. There's the little borer. And here's the damage that he does inside the rhizome. So this is definitely one that we don't want to put back in there. All right, so there's my borer worm that's in there. So that's the larvae that's in there. And they bore a hole. And so that's what you're looking for when you clean your irises out. If you get the borers, you want to try and get them out as much as possible. So I pulled this out of a pretty big patch. So there's probably more in there. So it is a good thing that we're thinning these out. The other plant that we dug out was the Caesar's Brother Siberian Iris, and we are going to thin those as well. I am going to shake a lot of the dirt off because I want to see if there's any weed stock in the roots. They are also like a little tuber rhizome, and I can clean those off all the way to the bottom and then put smaller pieces in. So basically what I'm going to do is just shake off a lot of the dirt and then just pull any of the weed stock that's in it out. right, now that we've got the bed cut out, we've got the edging in, now it's time to put all our plants in place. Remember, when you're putting your plants in place, make sure you space according to what the tags say. If it says it's going to get 5 by 5, give it enough room to get 5 by 5. Don't smash them so close together that they're all on top of each other, because later you'll be moving everything. So it might look a little empty right now as you leave space for things to grow, but in the long run, it is the very best way to do it while you're waiting for things to grow up. It's okay if it's not all packed the first year that you put it in. So right now we're at the end of June. So the first year it's going to sleep. They'll grow a little bit. Some of this stuff will flower. The second year it's going to leap a little bit. It's going to get a little bit bigger. Perennials are going to grow the fastest, usually 3 years to full grown. Some of them can get full grown in the second year. Shrubs, a little bit slower, can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Now we do have one tree going in here, our North Pole Arborvitae, and that can take up to 10 years to get full size. But even so, it'll still look beautiful while it's growing in. So first thing I do, get everything in place. So we'll go back, look at the design, where's the placement of where everything goes, and then let's get it set in place. I think I've lined it up as close as I can to the picture that I took, so take a look at the design. I've got my picture, now I'm going to put everything in place, and then we'll do each section and get it all set up. Obviously can't count. I'm missing a shrub. I have to go get it. I am missing one of the little blue star junipers, and I feel like I need a 6th allium to make the spacing work perfectly, so I'm going to go get one of those as well. These guys are going to start putting everything in the ground while I run and get that stuff. We also have to get some grass seed because we made the circle around the tree stump smaller, so we're going to have to seed around the outside edge of that tree. Real quick, let me run you down the line just so you can see where everything is, and I always recommend that you do that first. Put everything in place, stand back, look at it, check your tags, check your placement, make sure you've given everything enough room to grow how you want it to grow, and that you have the, the higher stuff in the back, the lower stuff in the front. Is it all layered the way you want? Are the blooms going to come in at a cycle the way you want? So those are all things to think about when you're doing the design, but I always check again when I'm putting it in the ground too. Go over all of these plants once we get them in the ground. I just love the way this thing is looking. Oh, I also want to run and get a few things I'm going to do up her little fairy garden for. I think that'll be really fun. And so that'll just be a fun little bonus thing that I'm going to do for her. All right. But so far, I'm loving everything in here. I like the placement. But you can see here, I feel like I need another allium right there. So I'm going to go get one. And we're not going to charge her for it. I'm the one that miscalculated on how many I needed. All right, and then I don't know, I can't count, obviously. There's only 3 of the little blue star junipers, and I need my 4th one for right here. I've laid out all of my iris. Isn't this nice? See, and then here's the Siberian iris back here. All right, so there it is. Look at it this way. All right, let's get it in the ground. Looks like we have a little collection of fairy garden stuff here, so we're gonna take this and use it in the fire pit that we're gonna turn into a fairy garden, so we're gonna do that first. I am going to live plant what I'm putting in this. The guys are still planting the plants, so I'll get this done while they're doing that. We drill holes into the bottom of this container so it would drain. So if you lift this up, you can see I got the drain holes in there, and see there's a big hole right there. All right, so we are going to fill this up with dirt. I brought some living moss and a whole bunch of succulents, and that's what we're going to use to create our, I guess, forest, and then we'll plant or put the fairy garden stuff in it. So let's just film away. Guys, we are at the end of the day. It was a long, hot day. I had to wait a couple hours for all of these plants to kind of soak up all the water that I gave them, and for the sun to kind of set a little bit so that it wasn't so much glare on the plants. So we're going to go through, look at everything. Tracy has seen it. She loves it. I love it. I think it's so great. I can't wait till it grows up, fills in, and looks absolutely awesome. What's really cool is Tracy and I are friends, so we'll be able to come back here and take a look at it next year to see how it's all growing and developing. We are going to start at the very end of the bed and work our way all the way down and kind of talk about everything that we put in here. You can watch the design video to get all of the specs that are written down. Everything that was in that video is in this bed, plus a little bonus plant that we moved into the bed that wasn't part of the design. We do have some kids playing next door, so you'll hear them shouting out. They just sound like they're having a good time, but we're just gonna film anyways. All right, this first one is a rose mallow hibiscus. It's from Proven Winners. It is the Berry Awesome. Gets 4x4, and it gets lavender, ruffly looking flowers on it with a cherry red center. These are absolutely gorgeous. I love the two-tone leaves. I have this one growing at my house, and I just love it. It is growing in zone 4 through 9. Love it. All right, now we're gonna go to the new sedums that I'm trying this year. I've never tried these before. They're part of the Rock and Round series. This one here is called Superstar. Right now they look a little flailed out, but what'll happen is next year when they grow, they'll grow into these nice little mounded balls. At least that's what they're supposed to do. But I love this foliage on here. It's kind of got like a turquoise purple hue to it. It is so pretty. Then these are gonna get like a dark pink flower on them, followed by a purple berry. So we planted 3 of those in here, and then behind it we have our Northwind Panicum. I did get her a 3-gallon can to start with so that we got some height going on. I love this grass. It's got a beautiful green color. It's very erect and stiff. It'll be able to handle windstorms, and it's a warm season grass. So as it grows, the panicles will grow up through the grass. Now this grass typically gets about 5 feet high and 3 feet wide. absolutely gorgeous. I love this grass. All right, both of these little beauties grow in zone 3 through 9. All right, we come down the way here, and this is where we transplanted the Siberian iris. We cleaned them up, cut them back, and popped them back in the ground. Those will come back next year. In front of that, we've got the wild berry echinacea, and we put 10 of them in here instead of 5. We had plenty of room, so I thought I'd hedge my bets and put a whole bunch of them in here because 1, I love these, and 2, I just love the punch of color down here. Powwow Wildberry gets 18 to 24 inches high, grows in zone 3 through 8, and they're about 16 inches wide. It's got a deep purple color on it, and these actually have a really nice fragrance too. We left her climbing rose here, still not in good shape. I mean, it is just getting eaten alive. I gave her the fertilizer food to put on here, but she got it on so late that it was kind of after the fact. So we're just going to keep an eye on it this year and see if it does a little bit better now that we've fed it and put the insecticide on it. But this might be what she has for the rest of the year, and next year is another year. Don't you love that about gardening? There's always next year. Moving down the bed, we have a calicarpa, or a beauty berry. This is from Proven Winners, and it's the Pearl Glam. This is really a fabulous shrub. I have one. I love it. I love the little bit of the purple hue to the leaves. It's going to be loaded with little white flowers, and then it's going to get hundreds of pink berries on it. This guy grows in zone 5 through 8, and he's going to get 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. In front of that, we have the Nepeta, and this is the cat's pajamas. This is the shorter Nepeta. This one is only going to get 12 to 14 inches high. It gets the little lavender flowers all over it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Zone 3 through 8. It's really a long bloomer, and if you want to cut it back, you can, and then you'll get a new flush of growth on your flowers. Over here, you can see these are the cut back iris. We cleaned them up. We didn't get a lot of them. There were a lot of borers in her rhizomes, so we ended up cleaning them up and only getting this many to put back in. I really like this area that we did with the Anna's Magic Ball arbovitas. These guys are from Proven Winners, and they're one of the smaller arbovitas. Now, they only get 10 to 15 inches tall and wide. They will keep that beautiful chartreuse color year round. Isn't that awesome? This one grows in zone 3 through 7. They need 0 pruning. That's what we love about them. That we paired them up with the Blue Star Juniper. I love this little juniper. It is so cute. They only get 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. I've never seen one get 3 feet. Most of them are like 24 by 18, but they kind of have a layered look to them, and they have a really short needle. The blue color on it is fabulous, and it pairs up so nicely with that chartreuse color that we have on the Anna's Magic Ball. I love this color combination together down here. Now, we did also pair it up with one of the Rockin' Round sedums. This one, though, is called Pure Joy. Now, the Pure Joy grows in zone 3 through 9, and they are just a nice green color, but they get a bubblegum pink flower on them in the fall that's absolutely fabulous. Now, again, they're a little more splayed out because they were in the pots, and next year, you wait, they'll grow into this nice round ball, and then all of this over here will be so cohesive and pretty together. I love this little area right here. Now, here we have a beautiful trellis from Plow and Hearth. People ask me all the time whenever I use a piece where I got it from. So this is the Plow and Hearth, and you can see the number down here, 47M3024. All right, so now you know, Plow and Hearth, that's where I got it. Isn't it great? All right, this is where we put the purple clematis on. We cut it back. We did transplant this and move it. So once this thing gets going again, she'll have to terrain it up the trellis, but I think the blue against the black on the fence will be absolutely fabulous. And for those of you that made the suggestion about painting the fence charcoal, I love your idea of that, but this is actually the neighbor's fence. So, see, had a lavender that was planted in the wrong spot, and we just tucked it in right here. It is looking pretty good for a transplant, and it was 91 degrees today. Now, we have a cool down coming up in the forecast. Tomorrow, it's only supposed to be 77. Check out our arbovita. This is the North Pole. This is a nice little green shrub. It is about halfway down the bed, so it kind of gives us a little bit of structure in the middle of the bed. It grows in zone 3 through 7. It's going to get 10 to 15 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide, so it's going to fill in this entire area. Here is my favorite flower in the whole bed. I love alliums, and I just think that this is the perfect color for Tracy. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is a Nellie Moser clematis behind here on the trellis, and we didn't move it. We left it right where it was. And then we ended up putting in 6 of the Millennium alliums. They grow in zone 5 through 8, about 15 inches high and wide. They'll get their flowers on them towards the end of July, beginning of August. You can see they're already starting to bud up. And what's nice about alliums is even when they don't have flowers, the foliage always looks good. There are those little lavender billy balls that it's going to get. Love this plant. Check it out. This is a dwarf Korean lilac, and I told Tracy to come home and give it a little trim because pruning promotes growth even on new bushes. And look, it sprouted out some new flowers. Isn't that cool? All right, so I love this thing. It's gonna get about 5 by 5, so it'll fill in this whole area right there. All right, as we swing down this way, oh my goodness, check it out. We're on the home stretch. This is the Tuscan Gold by Proven Winners. This guy is gonna get probably 32 inches high, 24 inches wide. Now is the time when they're blooming, and they do have a really long bloom time on them. Now, I told Tracy that once the flowers are done on these, that she needs to deadhead them. That way, this plant will focus on producing roots. Next year, it's going to be absolutely glorious back here. It will fill in together and be like one big mass. Now, down below here in front of our fairy table, we do have the Rock and Round Superstar again. It's the exact same one that we planted down the other way. And we also repeated the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta, and we planted 5 of those and then ended the very end of the bed with another one of the Rock and Round Superstar sedums. We also have another North Wind grass in here. It's the exact same one that's down on the other end. Now check this out. Here's a new little guy. This, instead of doing a Danica, I ended up doing a midget. This is also a little dwarf globe arborvitae. When it's all said and done, it's a pretty slow grower. It might get 3 or 4 feet by 3 or 4 feet, so it'll fill in this whole area, but it's going to take it 10 years to do that. This is a serious no prune green beautiful shrub. I love this thing. It is so cute. Moving on from the arborvitae, we did, next to the fairy table, we put in a Baptisia. Now, I decided instead of doing the Baptisia australis, which gets fairly large, to do a smaller one. So this is from Proven Winners, and it's the Decadence Sparkling Sapphire False Indigo. This one is going to get 30 to 36 inches tall, so only 3 feet. Whereas some of the other Baptisias can get 4 and 5 feet. I think this one fits the space a little bit better. So I really like the size of this one, and it does get this vivid violet blue flower that's really super nice. This guy is kind of compact, and he stays in this nice little clump, and so he's kind of got a round growing habit versus that vase shape. So I think this is going to be perfect here. Now this guy is totally done blooming, and he's got his little seed pods on him, and I'm just going to let him sit here and make some roots all summer long. And I didn't say, he grows in zone 4 through 9. All right, so for those of you that didn't see the design video, this is a yellow loose stripe. It was here, we're leaving it here, and we're just gonna make sure that she just keeps watering it along with everything else. Now in this corner here, this is a hydrangea, and this is the little lime punch. This is a paniculata hydrangea. It'll grow in full sun. It's gonna get anywhere from 3 to 5 feet tall. And as you can see here, it already is starting to get its flowers. Now these flowers start lime green, and then they're gonna turn white. But what's really cool is this is a repeat bloomer, so it continues to bloom, and then the flowers start to color up, and they start at the bottom and they work their way to the top. So they go from green to white, and then that white starts to age to pink, and then that pink ages to like a fruit punch red. So you can have all 3 colors going on at the same time on this shrub. So this is going to fill this whole corner in and be absolutely fabulous. And if I didn't say, zone 3 through 8. All right, let's just take a walk down the whole bed. Isn't this great? Yeah, we're starting to lose light, but I think everything looks so good. And then we'll come back and take a look at the fairy garden. I am so pleased at how this whole bed turned out. I just think it is so beautiful. I love the different textures. I love the different plays on the purples. I love the touch of yellow that's in here. I like all of the shrubs, the clematis, my favorite, the alliums. I like the North Pole arborvitae. I love this little shrub selection down here and the really vibrant colors between the chartreuse, the blue, and the green. These irises are going to be perfect back here to give her some height when they grow back up. I can't wait till we get the purple berries on this and Tracy gets to see those because she'll love that. I love the punch of color. Now imagine this 3 years from now when this all fills in and it's a big solid mass of these bright vivid cone flowers. We've got the nice grassy textured foliage of our Siberian iris, which bloomed dark purple back here. And then this corner will fill with this glorious rose mallow hibiscus. Isn't this fabulous? Last but not least is our little fairy garden. We took all of the things that Tracy had for her fairy garden and we just created this little bitty vignette for her. We used a lot of succulents in here so that it would be drought tolerant. We added her little fairy house in here and then just staged the little fairies in different places throughout. We did use a living moss right here in the front, and then we just used fish gravel that you can buy, you know, at the dollar store. Got a little water area over here with a little turtle on it. So I just love this little fairy area. I just think it turned out so cute. What a great way to repurpose an old fire pit. Now you know why I say I'm semi-retired anymore, because when you get to do stuff like this, it is chef's kiss, because I love the results when you're done. You turn something that didn't look that great into something that looks absolutely beautiful. And to see the look on the homeowner's face when they come and they are just like, oh my gosh, I love it, is worth all the heat, all the pain. Not that I went through any pain, I had guys that helped me, but just the transformation is so awesome. I love gardening and I love to landscape. So I hope that this inspired you. I hope you learned something today. Don't forget, Garden Gab is the second Saturday of every month, and that's when we share our viewer pictures. Make sure if you have something beautiful in your garden in the month of June right now that you want to share, this is your last shot to turn in the picture for June. Now, if you want to turn one in for July, just wait a week and turn it in a week. I will share those pictures with all of our viewers when we do Garden Gab. Make sure you take it in a landscape format. Don't forget to tell me who you are, where you live, what we're looking at, and what zone you live in. I hope that you enjoyed our video today. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Michelle. We'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.